Okay, now I want to continue my game between Tarrasch and Mieses, played in Berlin 1916. And I just talked about black played its 12th move, bishop to d7. And now white's going to implement its plan. What that is, it's going to get rid of a key defender in the black, or when you look at it, the defenders to the black side, or to the black king, are this bishop and knight, or maybe you could say the knight, which is defended by the bishop. So here white is going to get rid of the bishop and then plan to attack the knight, but it's going to get a nice powerful pin out of it. So once again, I talked about how this original pawn move was weak. It allowed the knight to come here, and now we're going to see how that one move is going to make things difficult for black. So black just played bishop to d7. So now white's 13th move, white plays knight to e7, check, and the queen has to recapture. And now white is going to play bishop to g5, pinning the knight. And if you look at this position, white's pieces are much more active than black's. If you look at this knight here, it's pinned. It can't move, so it isn't really going anywhere right now. This queen here has to stay around and defend the knight. So obviously the white's queen is more active. And this bishop here doesn't really have anywhere to go. You know, where is it going to go? Can't really go here. It's just be taken by the queen. Can't go here. You know, where is it going? So as you can see, this bishop is not too active for now, or it's going to take some moves to get it active, while white's three pieces are active. So white has a definite advantage when it comes to piece activity, and also has a better pawn structure. So white now, its plan is somehow, it's going to be, this is an example of, you know, white's plan now is it got to somehow crack this pawn shield right here. And how's it going to do that? Well, like we've shown in other games, it's going to somehow, it's going to make black make a weakening pawn move. It's going to have to lure one of the pawns forward. And how's it going to do that? Well, white just played its its move here, bishop to g5, and it's black's 14th move. And black actually played a rook on a to c8 with the idea of playing a c5. And now white's 15th move, rook on f to e1. This move is multi-purpose. One, I see two main reasons, well maybe three. One, it's placing the rook on the half open file, which is always a good spot for rook to be, and it's also in line with the queen. And number two, it prevents black from playing e5, just trying to open up the position or get some activity. And number three is that we know in a kingside attack, maybe white's going to have to sacrifice a piece to crack open the pawn, and then this rook will be able to sort of come up the file and then over, I don't know where it's going to go, but let's say eventually the pieces, it's called a rook lift. It's where you move your rook up and then you move the rook over. I mean, it could be any square. It could be to e4 and then to g4. It just matters where the pieces are placed, but that's this is preparing one step closer to bringing the rook into the kingside attack. So that move is multi-purpose. And now black plays rook on f to e8, giving the king some breathing room and also bringing the rook to the e file, hopefully maybe being able to eventually push this e pawn forward. And now white plays the move which is going to help allure the the pawn forward. So this is the move which is going to cause black to cause a weakening move, and it's queen to h3 with the idea of, probably a couple things. It could, it's threatening to take the knight here and then checkmating, or it's threatening to take, white's threatening to take this h-pawn outright, because if black recaptures with a knight, then white wins the black queen. So now black's going to have to make a move, and let's just look at the moves from a weakening standpoint. Or maybe I should say the pawn moves which would weaken. Well, there's only two pawns that can move. So first let's look at h6. Well, black plays h6, then white just takes the pawn, black recaptures, the queen takes, and now, obviously, white is threatening to lift the rook. And here's the bad thing, is that the black's queen is practically forced, or is forced, or I should say practically forced, to play queen to f8, where white can just pick up the knight, and then now white's two pawns ahead, and it's probably going to win easily. So that's one way to win. The other move, weakening move, is playing g6, and on g6, now white just plays queen to h4. Now, attacking the knight twice. The king comes up to defend, and now white plays rook to h4 with the idea of just playing the rook over, adding a third attacker. So then that knight's a goner. So as you can see, the moving of the pawn in front of the king is going to cause a serious problem for black. Another thing, black could try is to play e5, attacking the queen. But if that happens, then white just takes it's actually going to go a piece up, if you don't know. So white's just going to play, bishop takes f6, then this bishop will take the queen, that bishop will take the queen, the rook will take, and then the pawn will take, and actually white's a bishop up. So that doesn't work. So what does black do? Well, black actually plays the queen to d6, and now black's going to crack open the king position by taking the knight. The pawn recaptures, and now we got a hole in the pawn structure. Now the queen's going to come up to h6. It'd be very tempting for white to take on h7 with check, but that just allows the king to run to f8 and then to e6 and run and get away. So white actually plays h6, sort of locking the king in, not letting the king run, which is a better strategy than winning a pawn and letting the king run. And now black plays f5, cutting off the bishop. And then now rook, the white will play the rook to e3, the rook lift that I talked about earlier. And now black will play queen takes d4, and then white will play c3, and now this is where the game ends, because the queen can't really, queen can't come here. It has to stay along this line, because white's threatening to play the rook to g3. So, the queen can't come here, queen can't come here, and if black plays the queen to here, then white just plays the queen to g3, pinning it. And if the queen comes here, we just play the rook to g3. And then it's check, and it's going to be mate. So that little jab with the c3 pawn is going to cause the complete collapse of black's game. So that is the game between Tarrasch and Mieses.